All right. First and foremost, I'm gonna say all praises be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash, and I'm gonna say double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the sincere elect, teaching His truth and faith and sincerity. Quick topic I want to speak on, man, is why we can't, judge a person, you know, in terms of being like an Israelite or not, based on their outward appearance, man. Now, of course, if a person comes onto the camp, you know, you obviously may be able to, sense, yeah, even though this guy is, appears white, his spirit is showing that, hey, he's an Israelite. But really, the point, like, I'm speaking on is these other, like Israelite camps, man. You know, like a so-called Jake from Spain or Italy or Ireland might come past the camp, and Jake would say, "Nah, this guy's an Edomite, man, because because he's a because because he's white, and all Israelites are people of color." Yeah, well, as a people, yes, you know, the 12 tribes of Israel, were and still are people of color, but you have many of the seed of the 12 tribes of Israel that have been scattered amongst all nations, man. Right? So that's why the first scripture I'm gonna start with is this. This is 1 Samuel 16 and 7. It says, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or the height of his stature, because I have refused him." Yeah, and this is when Samuel was gonna anoint David as king. His brothers were all older than him and taller than him and appeared stronger than him. But here it says, "For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Most High, Yahweh Shai, looketh on the heart." Right, and that concept and that understanding in that scripture can be applied in many ways, right? Because you might have a guy who looks like a straight up an Edomite come past the camp, but and if he's there, he's listening, he's hearing, then hey, he's most likely an Israelite, right? It ain't about the outward appearance, man. Because look, the 12 tribes of Israel have been scattered amongst all nations, man. You know, even before I get to the example that like I want to give, this is Ezekiel and Deuteronomy 4 and 20. Let me get this one sec. So yeah, Deuteronomy 4 and 27. "And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. And there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy power, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul." So the scripture is saying that the 12 tribes of Israel will be scattered amongst all other nations and serve the gods of those other nations, right? which of men's hands. Now, bro, we've been scattered for thousands of years in different ways, man. You know, scattered during the Assyrians, the Babylonians, right? The Medes, the Persians, the Greeks, Rome. Now Rome's extension, but even in general, Jake, get around, man. So, are you saying that every Israelite that has scattered? So okay, so you're saying if you had like an Israelite that got scattered in China the thousands of years ago, like are you saying that seed in China would have just said, you know what, I'm not gonna deal with no Chinese women. I'm gonna find me a black woman, and we gonna pop and keep our seed pure and just keep having dark skinned kids, man. When you read the scriptures, Jake was always dealing with uh, heathens, man. And then even at some points, Jake would be going off now, going into their gods and worshiping their gods, man. I believe in Ezra, if I'm not mistaken, there was an account where some priests, right? They had some kids that basically couldn't speak Hebrew, man. You know what? Let me find that. Oh yeah, I find it. I thought it was in Ezra, but it's in Nehemiah, right? This is Nehemiah 13 and 23. In those days, also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and Moab, and their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them, right? Because he was in zeal, man, and plucked off their hair and made them swear by the Most High, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their sons unto your daughters for yourselves. Now, this is not saying you can't deal with the heathens. You can, but that's supposed to be your concubines, man. Because if you actually because what Jake was doing was they would basically make them their wives, but then take heed unto their customs and cultures and stuff, which would corrupt them. You see, did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these? Right now, his sin wasn't the fact that he was dealing with them. His sin was that he went into their ways and lost his way. You see? So, but the only reason why I'm bringing this example is that's basically to what happened with Jake, man. We got scattered amongst these other nations, dealt with them, went into the ways of their gods, and lost our ways, man. That's the thing Jacob always done, you know. And like even now, right? If you have our seeds scattered amongst the Gooks, the Edomites, the this, the that, of course they will look like these other people. right? So that's why we can't judge according to the outward appearance, man. Right? Let me get another scripture like an apocrypha because it's all coming to a point I want to make. Ecclesiasticus 11:2. Commend not a man for his beauty, neither abhor a man for his outward appearance, and that applies. This scripture can apply in so many other ways. Like like a person might come past a camp that's poor and he's poor and rough, but he might actually come there and take heed, man. But then a person that's in his suit and tie might come past and just scoff, But then if you turn away the first guy because he's poor and take heed unto to the other guy like in a suit, really that's off, man. But even like on this example, you might come a person that's white might come past and actually stand there and reason and try to learn. But then a big black 6'10" Jake might come past and scoff. But then if you turn away the one that appears as an Edomite, really, man, that's off, man. Remember the Lord said he sent unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because guess what? We've been scattered amongst all these other people's tongues and nations, right? So what I want to do quickly is give an example here. So I've got a picture, right? And you know what? Actually, before I do that, let me use an example that you all know, right? So Blake Griffin, yeah? Blake Griffin and his family, right? So as you know, we always use this example. So as you can see, that's his father, his mother, and him there, like in the middle. And if you see a picture of his son looks completely white, right? But again, that's his father, so that means he's an Israelite, and that means his son is also an Israelite, right? So that's his son, and his son just looks white. But I guarantee you, if his son came past the camp, some of these other camps, you know what they'll say? They say, he's an Edomite. Don't teach that Edomite, because he's going to be destroyed, right? But which isn't fair. But then, if you have a person that's dark skinned that appears to be an Israelite, but his father is white, you won't say shit, man. And I'm gonna show you like an example of that. So this right here is a picture of some family members in Ghana, like in the 60s. Some people in this picture are like alive still, and there's some other people that have passed away. So I got a distant cousins, right? Their father was a so-called a white man, right? I think he was a Canadian or so, right? So as you can see, that's their father, that's the firstborn son, the secondborn son's there, and that's the daughter. So as you can see, they're all mixed, right? They're all mixed. Now, just for argument's sake, yeah. So let's say he he's an Edomite, right? Did, so that's him now, and those are his two daughters, right? And again, to prove the point, that's their father, and and that's him, right? As you can see, yeah. Now, if he came past the camp, right, with his two daughters, Jake would say, "Yes, brother, the 12 tribes of Israel, brother, because you're the tribe of Judah, brother, right? You know, we're the chosen people of God. Yeah, yes, brother, because we're the tribe. But guess what? If he said, well, hold on, my father's him. If he said, well, actually, this is a picture of my father, what would they say to him? They'll say, well, no, see, now you're an Edomite now. So the point I'm trying to make is if this same thing can't apply onto people that are dark skinned, that have ancestors that are so-called white, why can't the same thing apply to people that appear white but their ancestors are quote unquote black? Because the point I'm trying to make is if he came past the camp now, a cousin of mine, certain camps that scoff, you know what they'll say? They'll say, this brother's an Israelite because he's a tribe of Judah, right? Because he's a dark-skinned black man, blah, 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 right? But if he's pulled out a picture of his pops now, they'll say, oh, then you're an Edomite. The same thing here. If his son came past the camp, you know what they'll say? You're Edomite, and you're gonna be destroyed. But then, if his son said, actually no, this is my grandfather, they'll be totally confused, man. So that's why it's according to the spirit, man, which that special spirit is attached unto the seed. Now that cousin picture that I showed you, guess what? Even though his forefather is so-called white, he may still be an Israelite, because again, you can't really trace how far that scattering took place, because his father may very well be like an Israelite. But then, guess what, man? If he's a tear, it is what it is, man. I don't care. So that's why it's about going according unto the spirit, man. Right? That's why it's about, it's going according to the spirit. Because the scripture says, all right, this is Romans 8:16. The spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God, man. So the spirit is this word, man. And, Israelites vibe so with this book, man. So if you have a person that's white that comes past the camp, he stops there and asks his questions and takes notes. Guess what? He very well may be an Israelite. But then, hey, if you have a person like this come past camp, man, you know how many people will say, yes, brother, the 12 tribes of Israel, brother. Because you a Judite, brother. But then if he said, hold on, no, this is a picture of my father, they'll cut him off straight away. Because you a tear. Guess what? He probably is. And he probably isn't. Probably an Israelite, to be fair, But the point I'm making is that, but this is an example why we can't just go according to a person's appearance, man. We can't just go according unto a person's appearance, man. And then even, this whole spirit of, you can mix seed. Bruv, you can't mix seed. A Hamite cannot mix with an Edomite to become an Edomite. An Edomite cannot mix with a Hamite to become a Hamite. An Israelite can't mix with the Edomites and become an Edomite. That whole concept of mixing seeds is stupid, because you know why? Because all nations have mixed at some point. So that means if we can all just mix seeds, that means now, like on the earth, there ain't no such thing as a people then, because so we've all mixed with each other at some point. It's just so that concept of mixing seed is very stupid, man. You know what I mean? Like, that concept of mixing seed, it doesn't make sense, bruv. An Ishmaelite can't mix with an Edomite, and then later on, his great grandson is now an Edomite because he's mixed with Edomites all this time. It doesn't work like that. Every nation is based upon men. It's all based upon men, man. Right? But that's why, even on that point, the scripture says in Matthew 13, it speaks about the tares and the wheat, man. But let me get another one. Psalms 147 and 19. Right? It says, He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known him. Praise ye the Lord, man. Right? So that's why if someone comes onto the camp and he appears white or like an East Indian or a Gook or whatever it is, but he's actually hearing you and he's asking you a question, he wants to learn more, hey, he very well may be an Israelite. He very well may be. That's why we can't judge according unto the appearance, man. This is in one sec. Man, why is this not working, man? This heathen, the heathen that here. Yeah. This is 2 Ezra 2 and 34. And therefore I say unto you, O ye heathen that hear and understand, look for your shepherd. He shall give you everlasting rest, for he is nigh at hand that shall come in the end of the world. Be ready to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you evermore. Now, is this talking about actual heathen? No, it's talking about those heathen that hear and understand. Those Israelites among the heathen that are gonna hear and understand this truth. Is because it says what? Look for your shepherd, right? Now, what does the scripture say? I'm come for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So when it talks about, because the shepherd is who? Yahweh Shai, right? And it says, he shall give you everlasting rest. Now, who in the scriptures is promised rest? Right? This is Jeremiah 30 and 10. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee. Though I make a full end of the nations whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee. But I'll correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished, man. So when the scripture says, O ye heathen that hear and understand, because this truth is given unto the Israelites. He've not dealt so with any nation. Plus his name is dreadful among the heathen. Right? For he shall give you rest. For his night hand didn't come in the end of the world. Be ready for the Lord of the kingdom. Now, who's the kingdom for? Right? This is Daniel chapter 7 and 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Right? And the saints are who? Psalm 148. He exalteth the whole horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. Psalm 50 and 5. Gather my saints together, those who've made a covenant with me by sacrifice. So come on, man. This is why we can't judge according to the appearance, man, because we've been scattered amongst these nations. It's very clear, man. And that example of that extended a family member of mine. He guess what? He could be an Israelite, could be a tear. He's extended, so I've never actually met him, in person. So, I ain't got to spend time with him and observe his spirit. But guess what? Point I was making was, if he came past the camp, right, past ISU, PK, right? If he came past, the camp, what they'll say to him? Yes, my black brother, you good black brother. You're the tribe of Judah, my black brother. Right? But if Blake Griffin's son, right, came past the camp, they'll call him an Edomite. But if both sets of groups was to show their full parents, the one who appears white has a black so-called one who's so-called white. I'm just using that terminology, but the one who appears so-called white would say, well, my grandfather is black, and the one who's so-called black could say, well, my grandfather's is white, and then it would throw them off completely. Because guess what? It's according to the spirit, man. Right? Because now, it speaks about in Matthew 13 when it speaks about the wheat and the tares, man. And a tare is an Edomite that looks like an Israelite, man. And if that extended family member of mine, if he is indeed an Edomite, well, he would be an example of a tear, of a person who looks like an Israelite. Him and his daughters, right? But if that's just their forefather is an Edomite, which I believe they're Jakes anyway. I'm just using this as an example. But if his forefather wasn't Edomite, he would be an example of a tear, right? An Edomite that looks just like an Israelite. But the point I'm making is, you know, this is why we can't go according to the flesh, man. Because you have heathens that look like Israelites and Israelites that look like heathens. That's why when we teach this word, it's not about the outward appearance. It's not about the outward appearance, man. It's about the spirit, man. Right? But yeah, cause this is, it says it in this is Matthew 13 and 36. Then Yahushua sent a multitude away, went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, which are the Israelites. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. Yeah, that wicked seed is Esau. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. So, in this last days, this time of salvation and judgment, the angels gonna know who's who. All right. So if you have a someone who appears, to be quote unquote black, but he's an Edomite, well, guess what? He are gonna be destroyed, man. All right. But anyway, as therefore the tares are gathered and burned in fire, so shall be in the end of this world, man. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels and gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity, and cast them into the furnace of fire. The ICBMs. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Yeah, so no a tear gonna just somehow avoid the angels, man. So hey, so then even that, if the people that are tares gonna get their a judgment, what makes you think an Edomite can slip into this truth? It's like some random, like one Edomite is just gonna get all the breakdowns and get all the prophecies and prophesy. You're gonna have, one Edomite that go and actually break down all the prophecies on point and pull for the scriptures, get spiritual power, but he's an Edomite. You know what I mean? You're gonna have one Edomite that gonna get spiritual power and just supplant his way into the kingdom. Come on, man. That's why you have Akim in his truth, from Turkey, from Italy and Germany, such places that may look white, but guess what? The Spirit of the Lord is upon them, right? To teach and prophesy this word, man. This is Amos 2 and 11. Remember, scripture says he giveth his secrets to the servants, the prophets. And the prophets, the sons of the prophets, are the Israelites. Now other nations may be able to, have dreams and visions, But in terms of going out there with his 12 tribes chart, teaching week in and week out, that's for Israelites of the elect. This is Amos 2 and 11. And I raised up of your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O ye children of Israel, save the Lord? So the scripture says he's raised up of Israel for prophets, man. You know? So that's the point, man. So with that, I'm gonna say, well, praise be to how about Shema Shabbat Shema Dutch double honors apostles and elders, great millstone. The next time I'm gonna say Shalom.